All right, it's time for ITTOs. First, the inputs. Project charter. The project charter describes the high level description of the product, service, or the result the project is intended to deliver, and also the assumption and constraints. These information are valuable during development of scope management plan. The next component of project management plan is quality management plan. Let's look at the overview. The quality management plan is a component of project management plan. The project deliverables will have certain level of quality to be achieved. The quality management plan describes how the policies, procedures, and guidelines will be implemented to achieve that mentioned quality objectives. The quality management plan may be formal or informal, detailed or broadly framed. The style and detail of the quality management plan are determined by the requirements of the project. The quality management plan should be reviewed early in the project so that a sharper focus can be put on project's value proposition, reduction in cost, and less frequent schedule overrun that are caused by rework. The way the project and the product quality will be managed can be influenced by organization's quality policy, methodologies, and standards. The quality management plan defines the acceptable level of project and product quality and describes how to ensure this level of quality in its deliverables. The quality management plan may include quality objectives of the project, quality standards that will be used by the project, quality related roles and responsibilities, who will be involved in managing quality, when and what are the specific duties will be, quality tools, quality process, quality review, and other quality management activities planned for the project. Major quality procedures relevant for the project, such as dealing with non-conformance, corrective actions procedures, and how continuous improvements will be deployed. The reports that will be used to address quality related issues, what metrics will be used to measure quality, what parts of the quality deliverables will be measured and when, assumptions and constraints related to requirements, scope, risk, etc. Now, quality management plan in current context. The way the project and the product scope will be managed can be influenced by quality policy, methodology, and standards are implemented on the project. Project lifecycle description. The project lifecycle description determines the series of phases that a project passes through from its inception to the end of the project. The next one is enterprise environmental factors. Culture and structure of an organization can influence the way the projects are managed and executed. The level of maturity of project management within an organization and the management process in place can also impact how smoothly a project is carried out. Projects considered to be aligned with the organization culture may have smoother implementation and higher success rates than projects that challenges these cultural norms. Scope management planning must be performed in accordance with the organization policies and procedures. Historical records and lessons learned from previous similar projects may be useful for the team in their planning efforts. There are two organizational process asserts that can affect plan scope management. They are policies and procedures, historical information, and lessons learned repositories. Now, let's talk about the tools and techniques. For this process, the experts will be from previous similar projects, the project sponsor, selected project team members, selected stakeholders, anyone with responsibility for any of the scope management process. Data analysis. Let's look at the overview. Data analysis is a technique that is used to discover useful information and support decision making. Alternative analysis is one of the data analysis technique that is used in plan scope management process. Let's look at it. This technique assesses the alternates to select the optimal one during plan scope management. Let's say I want to reach from city A to city B. There could be multiple routes. Similarly, in a project, there could be multiple ways to accomplish the same result. They include using various size and types of machines, different tools and techniques, using various level of resource in terms of capabilities and skills. Each method will have its own advantages and disadvantages. In project management terms, each method will have its own impact into project schedule, cost, risk, quality, number of resources required, etc. Alternative analysis assess each method in terms of impact and assist in selecting the best method to perform that project activity. One of the most popular example is whether to make in-house or get it done from outside. The next one is meetings. The objective of these meetings is to develop the scope management plan. Attendees may include the project manager, project sponsor, selected project team members, selected stakeholders, anyone with a responsibility of any of the scope management process, and others as needed. Now, let's look at the outputs. In the PMBOK, the first output listed is scope management plan. But by looking at a requirement management plan first, you can understand the things a little better. So the order is altered here. Let's look at the overview. Requirements management plan describes how project and product requirements will be analyzed, documented, and managed. The requirement management plan may include configuration management plan. In a nutshell, configuration management plan is nothing but having track of all the changes from the project initiation. This includes activities such as how changes will be initiated, how impacts will be analyzed, how they will be tracked, traced, and reported, as well as authorization level required to approve these changes. Requirements prioritization process. This is to prioritize their requirements among the multiple requirements, metrics to be used to rationalize them. Traceability structure. This helps to have track of all the requirements. Traceability structure that reflects the requirements attributes captured under traceability matrix. Let's look at some of the example. Quality requirement. The component D must be able to withstand 200 pounds of pressure. Example from business process. You must track and report the project's expenses as per process XYZ. From compliance, by law, we have to meet the safety standards. And from project management, the requirement could be we require risk management procedure X to be used on this project. Now, in context, the requirement management plan is a component of project management plan. Articulating the requirements is not an easy job. Requirements can be easily misunderstood. In a project, both elicited requirements and untold requirements need to be captured. Requirements management plan describes how project and product requirements will be analyzed, documented, and managed. Some organizations refer to it as business analysis plan. In a project, different stakeholders will have different requirements. Let's go back to our construction example. In the apartment project, one of the customer comes to you with the requirement of having 3 windows in all the bedrooms instead of standard 1 or 2 windows. Now, another customer comes to you with the requirement of having bookshelf in kids' bedroom, which is not there in the original plan. Now, another customer comes to you with the requirement of having bunk bed in kids' bedroom. You analyzed these requirements and told to the customers about the additional cost that will incur. Those customers agreed to pay the additional cost. You haven't frozen the requirement yet, so there is no need to follow the change control process. But still, you discuss this requirement and the additional cost to the management and they agreed. By looking at it, few customers also wants to have these, out of which some of them want to have 3 windows, some of them wants to have bookshelf in kids' bedroom, and some of them need bunk bed. The rest do not want any of these, they want to go with the standard features. Now, different customers, different requirements. All these requirements need to be collected, analyzed, documented, and delivered back to the customer. That's about requirements management. The next output is scope management plan. You collected the requirements from the stakeholders. They should be implemented as a part of project deliverable. Project scope management is all about doing what is required to fulfill the final delivery and doing the only work that are required to make the final delivery. Anything else you do will be out of the scope of the project. In a blunt way, to implement those requirements, the actions you take are called scope management. Among the requirements, let's take additional window as an example to understand it easily. Now, your scope of the project is to deliver additional window in all the bedrooms. To implement these requirements from the planning perspective, you should go back to the building drawing and add provision for the additional window. While executing the work, you have to ensure that the drawing is followed, space for additional window has been provided. From procurement management perspective, you have to buy additional window from the supplier, so you have to make necessary plans and arrangements. From the requested changes, let's say to accommodate the additional window, civil engineering drawing need to be updated, a provision to be given to keep the additional window next to the existing window, do necessary planning to procure additional windows. In summary, requirements is all about the want and the need of stakeholders. You should have a plan to collect, analyze, document, and manage those requirements. That is called as requirements management plan. To deliver the requirements, you do certain actions or work. Doing all the work and those only work to deliver the requirements is called as scope management. The scope management plan is a component of project management plan. The scope management plan describes how the scope will be defined, developed, monitored and controlled, and validated. The scope management plan can be formal or informal, broadly framed or highly detailed. This is completely depends on the need of the project and the application area. Now, what's the difference between requirement management plan and scope management plan? These two are the most confusing terms among the PMP aspirants. So let's spend a minute to understand the difference. So, scope management focus on activities such as what steps to be done, who should be involved, how to get it approved. Whereas requirement management plan is all about getting the inputs from stakeholders and managing it as part of project deliverables. That's all we have in the ITTOs. Let's move to the next one.